Hello, crochet crafters. I'm so excited to share with you my card series on how to crochet a beautiful card that you can use for Mother's Day. Birthdays, you can make them generic or specific. You can put your own verbiage on there. But today we're going to do a little flower basket, and I put mine Flowers Make the Day Bright. And you're going to need a 3.5 by 5.5 card or a 4.5 by 6.5 card. And if you want an envelope to mail it, snail mail it, you can do that too. And this is available from a lot of different vendors on Etsy. There's a lot of creative people that have different types of card types, and they're even tie-dyed and really super neat. So you can get those from a vendor on Etsy. For now, we're going to go ahead and start this project. You're going to need cotton yarn, and the good news is it can be leftovers from another project. And the other thing that you're going to want to do with this is that typically the sugars and cream cotton yarn comes in a 4-strand. There's 4 strands to it. So in order to have it nice and flat and not too bulky on a card, all I do is I took my remnant yarn that I had left over from a project, and I just pull it apart. And once you, I'm going to have to do this a little bit off the screen to kind of pull it apart, and then you can have the 2 yarns, and that's really what you want to work with for this project. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to show you how it's so easy. I'm going to show you how to make a flower. So I'm using a very light green. You can use whatever color you want, and go ahead and get your 2 strands on your size 2 crochet hook, which is also a size C US. And I'll give you a little trick. If you're new to crocheting, go ahead and use a regular, you could use a 6 or 7 instead of a 2 and some thicker yarn just to practice with, because it does take a level of skill, and I don't want you to get frustrated, but you're going to have to develop that skill set. So I usually hold this like this, and we're going to chain 6, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this is what 6 chains look like with a 2-ply strand on a size 2. Now, this is going to be really super easy if you know how to do single crochets. You're just going to start in that next chain over from the one that you have your hook in, and you're going to put in a single crochet, grabbing the 2 strands, and you're going to put a single crochet all the way down. And that's going to be your stem. So when you get it, I've already cut my yarn too to where I think that it was supposed to kind of end up. So, and I'm going to work my tails back into this. You don't have to worry about working your tails in, because you can literally cut them off, because you're going to glue this with some fabric glue, like an applique to the card. So I'm not going to worry about that, because I'm just going to cut it off. So now once you've gotten to the end, wherever your yarn is, don't worry again, you can cut it off. Don't worry about the tail right now. We're going to go ahead and add a color. Now add any color of your choice. And the way that you add a color is really super easy. You just hook the color around your hook like so, and you slide it through the green, and then you chain 1 to get it on. So now you have that nice started. And what you're going to do is you're going to wrap it around as if you're doing and you're going to go back into that single crochet down 1 from this, and it might be a little hard to work the first time. Then you've got 3 on your hook, and this is going to be like a puff stitch. So it's literally like a single crochet chain with a puff stitch. You've got 3 on there. You're going to wrap it around, and you're going to go back through the same place again. Hopefully, again, this can be a little challenging. I know you can't see it because I'm trying to work it in there. See, I'm pulling it through there and pulling it through, and I've got that. I'm going to wrap it around again, pull it through. That's, like I said, this is really, if you're not used to doing this, you really want to go ahead and practice. And then you're going to pull it through the entire puff stitch and then chain one. So you can see, if you turn it, there's your little flower starting. Now, if you want to add more dimension to your flower and you want to make it a little bigger, then you can go through and do another stitch next to that. And what I'm going to do, just for purposes of showing you this, I probably should have just used a larger yarn because it's really hard to see. But it's literally just chaining 6, doing a single crochet up, and then adding a puff stitch at the end. The challenge to these cards, again, is the size in which you're working with. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap it around, and I'm going to go into that next stitch next to it. I'm going to wrap it around again, go into the same stitch, wrap it around again, go into the same stitch. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on my chain, wrap it around and pull it through. Oops. So, and then I'm going to chain 1 again. So you can see you've added some dimension to that puff stitch. And all I'm going to do right here is pull this through and then pull it tight. And again, you know, in the crochet world, you and I both know we have to work our tails back in very carefully because your end work is visible. When you're working with cards, you're going to be using fabric glue. So it's fine if it's not that secure because you're going to end up gluing it anyways. And then with this, again, you're going to glue the end. So we're just going to cut it right there. And I don't know if you can see that flower, but that's literally your little flower that you're going to add. Now, if you want to do 3, you want to do 6, however many flowers you'd like to add to your basket, to make the stem longer, you just add more chains. So I chained 6 to make it, if you want to make it longer, you can chain 8, you can chain 10, but just remember it's got to fit on the card either horizontally or vertically, depending on how you want that card to look. So there's your flower. You're going to go ahead and make as many of those as you want. And we're going to set that aside. And now I've got some pink yarn for the basket. And you can, again, if you prefer a certain color, you can use whatever color you want. I have pulled this remnant off of another project, and I've pulled it apart so that I have the 2 strands from the sugar and cream. And I'm going to get my yarn onto my size 2 hook, and then I'm going to go ahead and chain 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, if you want your basket to be bigger, in other words, if you want it to be wider this way, you can probably chain up to 10 to fit more flowers in the basket. Just be careful because sometimes it becomes overwhelming on a card if you have too much going on. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a double crochet now back across. So we're going to wrap it around once and go through the first stitch. And you've got 3 on your hook. You're going to wrap it around and pull it through just the first 2. Wrap it around and pull it through the second 2. And then we're going to chain, go through that second stitch and do a double crochet again through that. So that's 2 double crochets. Now we're going to do the same thing all the way across, a double crochet in each stitch. And if you are a avid crocheter, I know the question you're going to ask me. Why didn't I chain 2 at the end so that I have, because that's what you do with a blanket, you chain two, because when you turn the corner, you want it to have that kind of that flat. But in this instance, you want it to be a little curled on the end. So you don't want to chain two because you're making it look like a little basket. So that's the answer to that. And the other thing is, if you are a avid crocheter, you're probably going to go, oh, I can work my tail back into my work right there. So I'm going to go ahead and work my tail back in. No biggie if you can't. You can just cut it right off, okay? So that's sort of my basket. I'm going to go ahead and just do a single crochet. And again, I'm not doing a double because I kind of want to give it kind of a rolled look. I don't want to give it a real straight look like you would do in a blanket. So I'm going to go do another row of double crochets. And I usually do 3 rows for a card, sometimes 4. And you can really manipulate the yarn a little bit when you're gluing, because you can kind of change the stretch of a cotton piece. And the reason you want to use cotton is because in hot weather, if you have acrylic, sometimes it can sweat and leave moisture on your project. So for this one, I am just going to, I have to get another, so this is 2. Some fuzz there. This is 2. And I think I need another piece of this pink. So what happened is I had a piece that I had cut off. It wasn't enough, but it really doesn't matter because I'm at the end and I'm just going to tie it back on and then chain 1, and I'm just going to bring them all around here like this, get it all on. So when you turn it around, you want to do another double set of crochets. And again, I'm kind of messy right here because I'm just tying this on because I messed up. I didn't cut a long enough piece. Measure it properly. When you're working with scraps, you sometimes don't measure properly. And this is a double crochet, folks, all the way across. No chaining 2 at the end like you would do in blankets. I know it seems rather archaic, but you want to have that kind of a curved, kind of baskety, loose fitting, you know, kind of a wavy look. So I love the way it turned out. Actually, it's came out just the way I wanted it to, kind of boho hippie chic on both sides. And it's a no-no in the crochet world to tie something off because you can see it, especially on a clothing or something. But in the crochet card world, it's like, yeah, tie that puppy off. You know why? Because you're not going to see it. It's so small. You're going to cut it and you're going to glue it. So you're not even going to see that. So let me show you how cute this looks, folks. I've got a blank card right here. And there you go. And then I'm probably going to put my little flower right there. And then I'm probably going to do something like I did for this design. If you like my cards, visit me at Etsy at Lori's Handiwork, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is also Lori's Handiwork. Thank you.